Hi, and welcome to the Women's Business Society podcast, where you can listen to the experts while I pick their brains for hot tips and tricks to help grow your business. Thank you to our major sponsor, Book It Bookkeeping, and a shout out to all our members, with a special mention to So Beautiful, who provides all the gifts at our WBS networking events. Hello everybody, today I'm joined with Ziggy from Artz Collective to talk about when you realise your skills and experience are only part of your business. Welcome Ziggy, how are you?
Hi Kaz, thank you. Yeah, I'm really good. I'm really, really glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
We finally got this call going today. Technology, thank you very much. But we've sorted ourselves out. So Ziggy, I want to do my introductions. I want to say thank you for being such a fabulous WBS member the last few years. You have been a big support to the community, whether it's been speaking or just being a real, I think for me, being so far away and looking at the photos, you're always such a smiley, good energy, and I really love you being a part of WBS. And you won in February WBS Business Woman of the Month, which I just wanted to acknowledge you as someone who just brings a lot to the table when you come to these events. So thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And it was wonderful to win that. Thank you very much. It was terrific.
Fantastic. So can you share a bit about yourself, your business? It's over to you.
Okay. Well, I run the Artz Collective Performing Arts School in Melbourne's western suburbs in Australia, and we are a performing arts school that encourages pathways to performance for our students. So even though we may only be teaching a little wee tiny tot, we're always keeping in mind the idea that one day this little wee tiny tot in a tiny wee pink tutu might decide that they'd like to go on and have a career. So what we are teaching from the absolute ground right up needs to be able to serve them and support them throughout any performance career choices that they may make. We know that not everybody's going to do that, but it is something that frames and guides all our decisions about what happens in class and our procedures outside of class and all our curriculum and what we teach and why we teach it. So that is us and what we do.
So where does this passion come from? What gets you up every morning and to run it? Because I know it's a big business that you run, and it's a lot going on. So where does it come from?
Goodness me, there is a lot going on, and this week is possibly our biggest week all year. I hardly know when to sit down and stand up, or if there's even time.
Yeah.
Where does it come from? I have been involved in the performing arts ever since I was very young, and my mother and grandmother instilled in me a real respect for the performing arts and how that's part of their culture, and how just how amazing a place live stage was. And so I basically grew up backstage and on stage, and I was performing in professional shows while I was still at high school, still finishing off high school. I was off doing shows, and I would audition and get into professional shows, which was quite a giggle, because I remember sitting in class with my physics teacher once and working out that per hourly rate, even though I was currently in her physics class, I was about to go off to rehearsal, I was actually getting paid more than she was, which we thought was quite hilarious at the time.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it a long time, so I've seen the impact that the performing arts can have on students and on their on kids, on young people in the community, on adults, just how it can really boost their self-confidence, but also give youngsters a way to change their environment and a way to change where they are in society and their that possible disadvantage, if it's financial, if it's social disadvantage, if they're an immigrant family, they have no ties in the community. The performing arts is a really wonderful way where kids can just put effort in and get rewarded. It levels out the playing field, and that's massively important to me. So hence the pathways to performance that we're trying to create.
Yeah, no, it's so true, actually. Just for myself, we've just moved to London and I've got 3 kids, and immediately you want to inject yourself into the community. And, you're trying, 3 kids, you're like, okay, what do you want to do? And my son loves ballet since the age of 3. He just said, I want to go and play, I want to go ballet. Or he also plays cricket and football, but he just loves ballet. And we joined the local ballet school, and they were the first people I met in my community. Was these people, and then they had a ballet show that they went to, and my son was able to go along and meet these dancers and go backstage, and this has actually been a part of him settling in, is through this dance school. So I understand what you're saying, because I've just actually been through this, and it's been amazing to be part of that, and they're just so lovely and friendly, and he loves the discipline behind it and the focus. So it's true. But I want to give you some bragging rights right now. I was hoping, please tell us some of the shows that you've been in.
I was just gonna, I've just been
you skimmed over that. I was like, go tell us.
Oh, look, just a few little wee things. Not sure anybody would know about them. Les Miserables. That was
never heard of that one. Never heard of that. So, couple of years on the road doing that one. Small things, Mamma Mia. Oh wow,
that was really fun. I understudied a fabulous lady here called Rhonda Birchmore, who is just an absolute doll, and absolutely loved stepping in for her, although I used to beg her if she was going off, if she could please just leave her legs in the corner of the dressing room.
Great legs.
And obviously so that was a really fun role doing Tanya. And a lot of people would know Motherhood the musical, which I did a couple of years on touring Australia, and that was a 4-woman comedy musical, and I played Brooke, who was the lawyer in that. But again, just a mother who is trying to keep her head above water, and these 4 mums of varying, stages of life, basically, helping each other get through in the hilarious situations that happen.
So do you still do shows now, or now you're running the studio?
So I've stepped out of doing shows. I actually had a really serious injury all of last year, and through the start of this year, I actually was on a walking stick for most of last year. So that kind of helped make my decision for me. Okay. And now I'm back on the pins. I'm back on my feet, and I'm dancing again, which was great because they weren't sure I was ever going to be able to. So, but it's now looking at where the business is at. I do tend to take myself back out of it a bit. I'm not as intensively teaching. There's just too much to coordinate and do and plan and all the other stuff that you never even thought of when you started a business.
It's so true. Yeah. All right.
And I have a new program as well, which I'm developing, which is just ridiculously exciting. I feel like it's the reason I got put on this earth. So that's part of what's coming into fruition now. So.
Can you share any details?
I can. It actually goes back to musical theatre. This is a real, it's an amazing new training, or a system to bring everybody's training together in musical theatre. People often have different strengths. Musical theatre is when you can sing, act and dance. So we call somebody in musical theatre, someone like myself, we get called a triple threat because we're 3 times as likely to get the job because we have these 3 skills that all need to be at a professional level. So that's acting, singing and dancing of whatever kind of dance is needed. So as a triple threat, there's lots of different techniques and ways that you can learn, but the system I've devised actually brings those together. It doesn't matter what way you learned. You might have learned acting in a particular way, or you might have learned to sing in a still method or classical method. Doesn't matter. The way that I have a system now that will bring those all together and help people look at how they come together as a whole as a musical theatre performer. So
well,
really exciting.
It is very exciting, but I was just thinking you're a quadruple threat because you're a gorgeous blonde as well.
You're too kind.
Okay, so let's get back to the topic at hand. When you realise your skills and experience are only part of your business.
Yeah. So I think we all get into business if you're coming at this as I'm a total creative. So I spent my whole life doing creative pursuits, and I'm good at them, and I'm good at teaching. So I have been teaching dance since I was 13, 14 years old, and I then I choreographed music theatre. I learnt music theatre, and I went from being a dancer, a professional dancer, into training and singing as well, and then acting, and then going into musical theatre. So I had skills. I had great skills, and I opened my performing arts studio to teach, and I was actually asked to do it. I was begged to do it by people at other studios where I had taught, and I thought, yeah, great, cool. I mean, nobody said to me, you will need to do accounting. You will need to understand. I mean, in those days, there wasn't Facebook, but, you will need to understand marketing. You will need to know what a tagline is. You will have to spend hours sifting through photos. You will, it's mind-boggling what else is involved other than just the skill that you have that people want you for. And so that, for me, was I sort of thought I'd thought it out. I really did. And I'd been involved in my original dance school in New Zealand that I'd grown up in, and other dance schools I'd been a part of and teaching at through Australia. And I really thought, I've got this. I've seen how they do it. I never thought that I would be, screaming at a computer because I couldn't format it for stickers to go on costume bags. The things that don't occur to you. So now it's far more complex as well. We've got, payment gateways and customer portals and stock ordering and all manner of things, and your team, how do you hire a team? So I got a bit stuck for a while, and then technology changed, and we went from snail mail and advertising in print media to, okay, now we've got this thing called Google and Facebook and Google ads and SEO and a website that isn't just one page with a bit of information.
Yeah.
And so all of this, so that's that's where your skills and experience, they're only a bit. It's everything you don't know, finding out everything you don't know. And the savvy people do it before they get involved. But I think a lot of times a creative person has kind of started making a business without even realizing it.
Yeah, but I've seen people come in. I mean, I've got, business background, I've got certificates coming on my backside, but it doesn't mean, I've seen people with MBAs come through, WBS, and they're struggling in business just like everybody else, because until you have like life skills, isn't it? Being street smart in business. It's just, until you get in there, there's, at university, and when you get the certificate, it doesn't teach you the technology side of things. It doesn't teach you for your industry marketing and how it changes with, Instagram comes along. Instagram wasn't in marketing courses and still isn't. No. But that is part of your marketing plan. That's where you can make a big impact. And it
depends who you want to target. If you want that age group, then you've got to be there.
Yeah. And look, for me, it is because a lot of women in business actually advertise in there because that's where they think their target market is, even though it isn't. But then because they're on there, that's where my target market is. They're actually targeting wrong people, which is interesting. But it is so true. Your skills and experience, just because an artists really, really struggle with this one because they come in with really good art and then they sit there and they don't know what to do.
They don't know what to
And
do.
this is where you have to go, and you can, everything's online, but it's getting that right information and what you need for your business. And this is where it's just trial and error. That's the best course you can do, is just start if you've got the time. Some of us don't have the money and time to sit around for 5 years, but that's what it's like for everybody. I've never seen a business within the first year, unless you've got money behind you, a lot of money, that you can just put it all.
That's it. I mean, I think most people have either got money or time.
Yeah.
The idea of people who have already done a massive business plan and they've budgeted it out.
Yeah.
And it's all gone to plan.
Yeah.
God bless their cotton socks. Those people. If you're in that situation, that's fantastic. Stick to the plan. Modify if you need to. But for the people who just kind of tumbled their way sort of into a business and then thought, I'll just try and get a few more customers and then I'll do this and I'll ask so-and-so to do my books. Suddenly you've got a business and a little bit of a team, and then you've got the balls rolling. You've got to keep it going. So I think at that point it's time to do research. As you said, what is the latest research? Look overseas at people doing something similar to what you're doing, or, locally, and really at that moment, you're going to need to look at what else you can use in your business that could really help you. What is an app or a time-saving device, an app or a system. When Excel came out readily, it was so life-changing for everybody, but then since then everything's moved on, and now there's, like you say, niche apps that are really great for particular businesses. And how do you find out what those are? Getting into forums, chats, having a look at what your friends are doing, even if it's not the same business, which is why WBS is great, because you can sort of sit there and go, I do this, I do this, show me what that is. No, that confuses me. That looks really good. And also too, for people like myself, we're creatives, we can help other people who aren't. It's that thing of realizing how you think is not necessarily how the whole population thinks. You might cover a quarter of those people.
But it's just like any other job. I mean, if you're in a job, you have to keep your skills updated, otherwise someone is going to come in and take your job. It's when you start a business, always something new that you're going to have to learn to stay ahead of your competitors, and it's knowing what those things are. But I think when you're first starting out, it's having the site that you can do right now. It's having the marketing plan that you can afford right now. And often people will look at these big businesses and go, I want to be like that. It's like WBS. WBS wasn't my first business. WBS was my fourth. I was still running 2 of them when I started this one. And so, you just grow, you get more skills, you change. And, sometimes the first one isn't always going to be the last one.
Yeah. That's it. And things evolve. And you're right. You've got to play. Doing something is better than doing nothing. And a great mentor of mine says done is better than perfect every single time. And you've got to look at the resources you have. You might not have the perfect photo, but you have got some photos.
Exactly.
And you're going to use those. Just play your B game, doesn't matter, get it up there, get it going, and you can fine tune as you go. I mean, some things need more than that. They need time and attention and thought, your values, your vision, the things that are going to frame why you're doing what you're doing. But as you get deeper into business, you've got a lot to do. So churn it out. And my advice to anybody would be, just really look at what your customer will need, and that will guide what kind of technology would be good for you. Because if your customer, if they don't like Facebook, say, They're not loving Facebook. They don't, oh, no, we're off it. We don't like it. If you
Yeah.
keep hearing people say that, well, then you've got to sort of think to yourself, hang on a minute, I can't use Facebook as a forum for communication or as a primary forum for communication. I've got old school, these people are email people, okay, or I'm really only getting interaction on Instagram.
That's
Why
true.
do they want that?
But taking just to clarify what you just said, though, to take a step back, you have to make sure that you choose who the people you're serving so you don't get tangled. Now, just give an example of this. We get different types of WBS members that have come through the last 6 years. And I've had to make a choice of who it is that I want to serve, because there are some people who want a very small, intimate group. And there are other people who like a big group they can network with. Who do I want to serve? The people that want a smaller group, they're your introverts. They're the ones that don't respond to opportunities, to emails. They sort of hide in the back. I can't serve them, because they're in a mindset where they're always going to be standing on the sidelines, and I can't. I can do business coaching with them and I can help them like that, but I can't make a business model just around them, because I won't be able to scale a business.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I do, and it's those people I think are in the wings. They're waiting for their moment, so they're about to step up.
Yes, and they do, and sometimes they don't.
And sometimes they don't.
And that's okay, because business isn't for everybody. But once you decide who you want to serve, so the people that, let's say I decide to serve, they will use a lot of technology. They can sort out a lot of things themselves. But the ones that come and say, oh, I don't do it this way or that way, I can say to myself, well, I don't serve you. I'm not going to change my method. So what you just said then, saying, okay, if someone doesn't want to use Facebook, that might be 10 out of 1,000. Don't go change your method, because they might not be the people you're serving. So being careful with that, because a lot of people that come in, when they come into business, they're not really aware of this, niching and understanding your target market, and so they get all messed up. I'm coaching about seven people.
That target market, as you've said, is so important. But you've got to know who your customer is, and you've got to know who you want. And that really looks at, it's really specific, isn't it? Where do the people you want, where do they live? How do they live? What do they do during the week? Where do they go out? What do they love to do? Where do they go? Why do they go there? Yeah.
Even looking at their goals, I think I like to look at where they're going themselves.
Nice.
With whatever you're doing, it's like when someone comes to the dance studio, what's their goal? Where are they wanting to head? And I think if you've got, like, my goal is for women to do this with their business. So if you're not in line with that, my message is you're not going to understand, or it's not going to work, or you're not going to grab the opportunity. So you need to find something that suits you. But I truly, just what I've been through, in the amount of people the amount of people you come across, you just sort of have to go, I'm going to stand stern with this. And I can serve the ones who are sort of in line with that. So then all your marketing fits quite easily. Then it works. Then you remove a lot of problems.
Yeah, your marketing is well, what what they like, so what they like to see.
Yeah.
And that's it. It does come down to, what do they want to not have to do? What do they want? What are you filling? As you said, what gap are you filling? How are you serving them? What do you do that means that they don't have to do something?
Yeah.
Or, you've just made something so simple and easy for them that it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. But so what journey are we going on together? Once someone signs up to a class, it's like, what journey is Ziggy going to take them through when they enter your building? How you want them to feel and experience. And when they walk away, what do you want them to say about your company? But I think you really work that out once you've been in business for a while. That's the beauty of sticking it out. I think there's so many times we can go, okay, I'm done now. I'm tired. I just, I had that a few weeks ago. I'm like, oh my goodness. But then I go, no, because you know what? You just get better, and that is the fun. Once you commit to being an entrepreneur, you just go, okay, this is my lifelong passion. And you work it out.
That's it. You just keep the balls in the air, and it's I think everybody has a deep breath moment.
Yeah.
We're all the same, no matter how we look. The ducks, you can't see the feet paddling, the little feet under the water, they look all glamorous. So
Yeah.
everybody has those days. But I think you're right. I like the idea of what you're saying there about who do I serve. We call it a dream student for us, who is our dream student, and
Yeah.
her mum or his mum, and like, what do they do, and where do they go, and how she was going to write an essay, what would it be on, and it really helps us, think about who we're approaching and why. And sometimes we get approached with an opportunity. We have to turn that opportunity down because it actually doesn't fit what we're doing. It's going to distract. It may muddy the waters, confuse where we're all heading as a school in a particular year. So it's quite helpful.
And it's business confidence, isn't it? That's knowing that you don't need to take every opportunity. And I think that's like the 3rd year mark. For the first year, a lot of people just taking every opportunity. The second, you're still figuring out your marketing. The third year, like, do you know what? This is moving nicely. I'm talking about just a normal business, not one with money coming through. And then being able to say no to opportunities because you don't feel like you're so desperate. That opportunity, because you realize that they're not all equal. And when one's taking time away, the other opportunity that could have been a really good fit, you don't have time to even see the opportunity.
No, so that's it. Really, and you have to keep that time clear, and you've got to make those decisions. You need some parameters. You need some parameters for your decision making. And if you're clear with focused intention on where you're heading with your business and why you're doing it, and therefore you really have got a globe, if you like, that what you're going to do is going to fit inside a sphere. And when an idea comes that's great, but it sits outside of that, you just have to be really clear about not doing it. And handing it on, there's no reason you can't hand it on to somebody else. You're right, all opportunities are not born equal. And when you're so busy running around chasing your tail, I used to do this. I used to be at dance competitions every weekend, every second weekend, with this, with that. And then we just had to really nail down which were the 3 competitions we would do every year, and that would be that, so that myself and my team had a chance to get away, rejuvenate, and the students had a chance to work really hard towards particular goals at each competition, so that it wasn't a continuous thing. And it also too, it was better for our families, so they got weekends and family time and a good strong bond, and then everybody could come out and support that particular child on that day. It worked better for us that way.
Yeah. What was a defining moment for you when you realized that all your skills and experience weren't going to be enough? And what did you do? What was the first thing you did? Because people listening to this and the title, it's like, okay, so when did you realize it, and what was the first step that you took?
Oh golly, I had a big old fail. I had something we might just call an epic fail.
Okay. Can we find on YouTube?
No, funnily enough. No, look, I had for a while been doing a particular set of start of the year, because that's our big enrollment intake, and I've been doing this for a while, and I put our big ad in the paper a couple of weeks in a row about our open day that was coming up, for people to come in and enroll. In the past, they had been very successful, and they were still successful, and we had a very hot day that was our open day, and it just didn't work. It just did not work. And I remember sitting there looking at the paper and looking at the ad and going, this is a great ad. Where the hell are all the people? And that was when it struck me how, I looked at the paper, and then I looked at all the other schools, and I thought, this is not great. I'm just sitting in around all my competitors, not really clearly defining what I stand for, not really looking different, which we are, not really looking like I have eons of experience and know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's so many more competitors, and they must be doing something different, because this is not it. And I remember sitting around the studios waiting for people, which had never really happened before. And at the end of the day, it had just been such a flop. And I thought, I closed the doors and I thought, that's not how it's done anymore. I'm behind. I'm behind the 8 ball. This was many years ago.
Yeah.
But I just thought, that's not how it's done. Okay, chapter closed. Whatever I do now, it's got to be online. It's got to be through Facebook. It's got to be, I realised there were platforms, because MySpace was still going then.
Yeah.
I realised so much more had to be done online, and that was what the young people who had no careers and no experience whatsoever, graduated one week, started their school the next, and that's what they had. They had this innate ability to communicate through technology that I had never learned, and had sort of gone, oh, that sounds like such a pain, I won't do it. And then, of course, they're communicating with my clients because they're on it too. So I'd really cut off, I'd cut off a flow of communication to the outside world. And I remember just locking the door and standing there and going, well, we're not doing that again.
That's fantastic, though. That's why you're still in business, because you're very quick to react. So what did you do after that day? What was your next step?
Well, we went pretty bonkers in doing events around the local community, which we still had access to. So I was very lucky. We got to do a couple of local festivals that made up for that lack of enrollment. And I also got on the phones, and anybody who'd even vaguely inquired, we got back to. We threw emails out left, right, and centre. And I discovered that persevering via email and talking to people who'd already showed interest in us, how much that paid off. I'd never really done that before either. So necessity is the mother of all invention, they say. And so our lack of enrollment numbers meant that I went and did something that is a true tried and tested marketing technique. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That, getting back in what they call retargeting and recontacting people who had inquired and nothing had happened. And that's what we did. And it was interesting. And that week going into that year, I think, was Black Saturday. And so it was a horrendous start to our enrollments. Nobody wanted to go anywhere or do anything. Melbourne was burning, and we all just felt so terrible. There was nothing we could do.
Yeah.
Horrendous hot temperatures. And so it was a really shocking start to the year. And it really did take, basically the whole year. We just drove that enrollment situation and built. And I think that really defined the new way that I work. And that's when I thought, no, I'm going out to find a better way. I'm going to talk to business coaches. I'm just going to take this bull by the horns, and I'm really going to change what we do. We, at that moment, absolutely moved away from a traditional dance and performing arts school model.
Yeah. And how quickly did you turn around that model from what you were doing before to then adapting something new? What was that sort of turnover in time?
It actually took a long time.
Yeah.
It took a long time.
And I want people to know that. Sorry to interrupt you. I really want people to know this. I really don't like, the internet is full of so much fluff and gives business owners all these, like, oh, live your dream and live your passion. And what's your passion?
6 months.
Yeah, it's like, it's not true. And this is why I don't like to paint things in the wrong way. It's like, it isn't just that Ziggy had a bad day and went, oh, okay, we're just going to do this, But the thing is, that's what people think. And then they get frustrated and then they stop their business. When you commit to a business, you're committing, you're committing money and committing time. And this is why you have to learn, and you have to change the mold, and you have to be prepared to be flexible. Because if you don't want to be flexible, then you're screwed.
That's it.
Sorry, people, if you're not flexible, you're going to get flexible. Go to your.
You're going to get flexible.
Yeah.
Person with the most, Nick County says, the person with the most behavioral flexibility wins.
Yeah. I still have people within WBS try to tell me how to do things like, you don't run events. I do. I'm good. It's all good. It's really it's doing your own research and standing your ground, but where you need to, but being flexible where you know it's important, because there are things that you know that they're right and they're working. So if it's working, you don't need to take other people's advice. You have to, it's your business.
That's it. And it's just identifying where those gaps and holes are.
Yeah.
It's one of my business mentors, she uses this great word, and it really resonated with me when we had to identify this. She said, look, take a sheet of paper and just in the middle, just all we're going to do, draw a circle, that's your business. And then with a line out from that, just write down, a line per word, anything in your business that you find is clunky.
Yeah.
Just is clunky and it doesn't work. And I thought that is just, for women, you're mainly full of women in the room. That was a great word, because there was stuff that I had put new systems in place. We used a new computer. We did all sorts of new things, but things were clunky. And it's just identifying that and then looking at ways of dealing with that, whether it's a new team member, whether it's, for me, I really wanted to change. And the reason why I was going to say this, I remember now, is with that change in ideal that I had as we moved away from the traditional school model, we do things very differently now, and we do them differently to what people would expect. So I decided to make a change in our culture of our organisation, and that did take time, and it does take time. And I realised there were elements at play and ways we needed to educate our parents, educate our adult students, educate our teachers, train our team, and treat people in a different way. I really wanted to, I'm big about business with heart, and I really wanted to make sure that what we were doing had heart in it. And it's really difficult to work out how you're going to do that and not get walked all over, which relates back to what you were saying. To serve best, you have to have that clear ideal, and then also, be as kind and gentle as you can with people. And open doors for them and help them. So it really was a long process, and from start to finish it probably took, and I'm really being a bit picky here, it probably took 5 years, but certainly it probably took 18 months to 2 years before we saw a decent growth. That stagnated, and then we moved again, we grew again, and then we actually had to move. We had to move premises to facilitate.
But that's because of the size of your business. It depends on the sort of business, the business type, and and the money and resources that you have. So 5 years, it takes time to build a business. It takes time to change direction, and sometimes you have to be patient as well. Things won't change in an instant.
No way. And I knew when I did it, it would take time, and I knew it would hurt us a wee bit. So I'd like to say we planned for it. We did plan for it, but it still hurt.
But this is where you can fall back on your skills and experience, and not just business, because business you can change. But if you weren't a good teacher, if you didn't have the skills and experience to run a dance studio, you couldn't run the sort of dance studio that you have. Just saying the projects that you've been involved in, I would join your studio in an instant. But if you have those skills and experience, I would look somewhere else. So this is where it's together, isn't it? You have to not forget your skills and experience, and don't get caught up too much in the business, to keep that passion. Why Ziggy started this? Why did Ziggy start Artz Collective? So you got to keep connected to that. So it's not all just business and numbers, and you can give that job to other people as well when you can. Outsource the numbers.
Outsource.
Because it's not fun anymore.
New best friend.
Yeah, no, it's so important. It gets to a stage, and I get this question asked to me a lot when I do coaching. When do you know to outsource? And you just know. You just know when you can't sleep. And some things you can't outsource and you just then change the way you do it. Like with the podcast, I was getting them edited and all this sort of thing. Well, now I still want to do podcasts, but we're just not going to edit them as much and do so much fancy stuff because that's not important. What's important is to get the message out. And that's it.
That's the content.
But we were going perfect and all this stuff going on and editing in like 2 days to get audio absolutely perfect because of who I was working with. Now he's still allowed to do that, but we're not editing little sniffles and sounds. So, but you've got to look at what's important to change. And I think when your business gets really busy, you naturally weed out the unimportant things, or if you are really afraid, you start weeding out the important things and doing the things that are not important because you're sabotaging your business.
I think too, sometimes it's that idea that something that is really, really important is not necessarily really, really urgent. And so balancing out the difference between an incredibly important thing that you just absolutely must do to move your business forward and the urgent things. The majority of really urgent things are not important and could be handed on to somebody else, or sometimes it's somebody else desiring your attention consistently, and then it's time to start getting a gatekeeper, because it's the gatekeepers. That's your receptionist, administrator, PA, EA. It's their job, therefore, then to guard your time so that you can use it the most efficiently. And when we don't spend time in those big projects and we're consistently running around doing the little things that we're so convinced are urgent, you've got an answering machine, you've got 15 ways people can contact you. Why are you stopping in the middle of that important thing you're doing and answering a phone?
Yeah.
Surely there's somebody else who could either answer the phone for you, or you have an answer phone. You will get back to them, So
exactly.
Training your brain that phone ringing, unless you're expecting something particularly urgent, is not urgent right now.
Yeah.
What's urgent is that you work on the big things that really will develop your business. And it took me ages to work that out. Like, I'm talking years and years. And I used to think I was it and a bit running around being really, really busy and from here to this and that, she says, in the middle of a ridiculously busy week. But you've got to find those blocks of time to do the projects that will really change and enhance the service you offer.
Yeah.
And they're sometimes really, they don't seem very important, and they're the easiest things to shelve and push to the side.
Yeah.
But they actually are. For me, there's no way we'd be where we are, and there's no way we would have moved from where we were if I hadn't had the time blocks of 2 to 3 hours in the morning to really dedicate towards new ideas, new concepts, me just brainstorming with myself, thinking through what we're going to do, researching, as you've said. But it's the time to develop that stuff that is massive. And I think we can get a bit sucked into the you should be doing. I was.
Yeah.
And then all you are doing is doing. You're not thinking.
But I think that phase, I don't think that will be something that you would ever not necessarily take away. I can't think of a word right now. I think when you come into business, you naturally behave that way. There's just lots of things that you're doing because you're figuring out what's important for your business. So we could never eliminate that for a business owner. For me, I always look at business like a marriage, but also like Girl Guides. You get badges depending on your performance. So, if you can earn, and I see with you, I think you're quite a confident business owner. I think you've got really good skills and experience in your quadruple threat industry. So you are just naturally a confident person. So there's not a lot of fear. I don't feel like there's a lot of fear behind some of the decisions that you make. Whereas some people really do struggle with that. And you did have a thing with live video, but you got on that pretty quick. You need to process it, and then you were on it and you were good at it. And for someone who's a performer, I was like, wow. And I saw a lot of other women step up to that. So I think when you're making, choices in your businesses, it's sort of looking at yourself, isn't it? What am I doing? What are my behaviors around new opportunities? am I stopping myself from grabbing that opportunity because I'm fearful of that?
Yeah.
You know,
We're all guilty of it. I mean, I can't sit
yeah,
here and say I don't have fear about things. I absolutely do. There are particular tasks.
yeah.
Honestly, I can be rocking in a corner by midday.
And what are they?
You know,
Sorry to put you on the
oh
spot.
goodness. Oh no, that's okay. I mean, for me, looking at a sheet full of numbers,
Yeah.
I can know exactly what I mean, and then I've talked myself around the corner and backed myself down.
Mm,
And then the next second I completely understand it, and the next second it's gone.
yeah.
I hear things like if I'm told them out loud or I can speak them out loud, that's one thing. I need to say or hear things out loud for me to really get them to sink in. I'm an oral processor.
Yeah.
Visual for me is a little tricky when it comes to numbers. It's not my thing. They sort of float in and out of focus, and I just think, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So I need guidance and help with that. So that's me. I've done a lot of work on that over the years, and especially in this last bit of time to really help myself with that. But there are things also too, I used to think to myself, why does anybody care what I think? Why should I put that up there? I just used to think, oh, for goodness sake, I'm just me. There's other people out there. And so it's just owning that as a business owner and going, well,
Yeah.
actually, I have this business. So people will care what I think, and just having to go, oh, yeah, I've got to step up a bit. I used to try and sort of put the other people ahead of me all the time. And suddenly people were thinking that, there wasn't somebody very experienced behind the Artz Collective. So
Yes.
I sort of had to put myself out there a bit more than I was comfortable doing.
Yeah, I'm glad you just took that baton then, because I wanted to quickly jump into mindset, and you gracefully just took that baton right into that direction because you've got skills and experience, you've got business knowledge, marketing and knowing your niche, and then you've got the mindset. And all three of them have to all combine, and they're going to sort of like shift like a volume, when you see that equalizer and there's like 6, I can't remember how many numbers, and they're all going to be at different levels. They're not always going to be the same, and that's okay. Sometimes your mindset's going to be great, and sometimes it's not going to be great. But actually I think marketing is one of those things where I always say to people, go produce your marketing material when your mindset is good, and then batch it. And then you just roll it out, because during times, and I think for a woman when we're hormonal, oh my God, that's when the mindset is screwed. That's where it's going, no one loves me past the ice cream and chocolate. That's where that's when Hootsuite starts rolling out that marketing, and no one has to know that you just, and I think that's probably the biggest advice I'd give to anyone. Batch your marketing when you are feeling confident and strong, and when you have those good ideas. I have a notepad everywhere I go. I carry books everywhere I go, and I just jot things down when my mind is stimulated. I can't make it perform on command. Give me the ideas.
And that's it. Getting that all lined up in whatever system you're going to be using is the way to go. And I would go so far as to say to people when you're doing marketing or going inside your Facebook ads manager, speaking about things that leave me rocking in a corner. Thank God Power Editor's gone. I would say to people, if you're struggling, thinking about marketing, remember a time doing something when you were really good and you did really well at it, and really remember that time. Really put yourself in it. Just absolutely get into that time, remember it, and write it down, write a note for yourself to remember it, and let yourself sit inside that feeling for a few minutes before you start your marketing, or before you start whatever it is that you're not confident at or you're feeling a bit tentative about. Put your toe in that pond of, wow, you did really well. Maybe you won an athletics championship when you were 12. I don't know. But put yourself where you're absolutely in your absolute happy place and people are congratulating you in your head, and then do it. Because I know what you mean. There's some days where the well is dry. The well is dry.
Yeah, that's where you go get massage. Or you do something, you're like, okay, I'm empty.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
important.
that's it. Yeah, just
Yeah.
knowing that's not the day for that.
Yeah.
Is it desperate? If it's not desperately urgent, this is not the day to be doing that. Walk away, walk away, walk away.
Exactly. And then when you're in business, you bring yourself, which means you bring your skills, your experience, and your mindset. And there's a lot of women, when I do business coaching, it's quite funny. We do a business coaching call, always leads to life coaching. Then you go back to business coaching. Always. I'm like,
Oh,
let's
sounds
just,
like a singing lesson.
yeah,
That's how it
yeah.
goes down in a singing lesson.
Exactly. I think with a lot of things, conversations with friends at surface level, you go a bit deeper, you fix that. And some people don't want to go there. They do not want to acknowledge anything that's going on in their mindset. And I said, good luck then. Good luck. Because until you acknowledge that's part of you, you've got a brain. Of course, it's going to affect the way you do things. We've all got moods. You have to acknowledge that, or that some people don't want to make that connection. They just want to learn marketing. It's like, but your marketing, unless you have the skills and experience lined up with the business knowledge, and knowing your niche and being comfortable with that, being comfortable within yourself, a mindset will come and destroy all of that. All of it. Squish
Really,
it.
how we talk to ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm just astounded at how important it is the more I learn.
Yeah.
How we talk to ourselves, how we treat ourselves, how that then reverberates through us, and how we are with other people. Our mindset it's an extraordinary tool, and it can
Yeah.
go either way. So it can either be working for us or against us. It's very rarely just status quo, whatever.
Yeah.
It's driving the bus.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that it's driving it on the road and in the right direction, and
Yeah.
with the people on the bus that you want there.
Exactly. All right. Can you give me 5 of your top business tips? I love your business tips. So I want 5 of them. You could have a whole list of them. But five that have served you well.
Well, the first one is the one that I've already mentioned, and that would be to get your head, when you're about to do a task that could be quite arduous or is something that you're not sure you're good at. Marketing is a good one to do this for because it's going out into the community, it's going to be seen, but perhaps putting yourself, into a really great headspace where you've done something really well, and thinking about that before you do it, that's actually a really great tip. I'm glad that I got it. My other one is so number 2 would be to do an audit of your time through the day, and maybe it's something you do at the end of the week, so that you can keep an eye on the time sucks. What is sucking your time dry, and is it something that needs to, or are you just falling down a bit of a rabbit hole, or is it something that you can outsource or give to somebody else in your team? You may find there's a particular client even, you just got to watch your time and put a value on it.
Yeah. And to add to that, for a lot of small business owners, it's their life, their actual life. So whether it's their kids or friends calling them to have coffee because they actually don't understand that when you run a business, it doesn't mean you have free time. It means you have no time. And being really strong and saying, no, I work. And they're like, but what do you actually do? Don't feel like you have to explain it to people who don't understand. Anyone who's asked me that question, it's like, it's fine. You're not my client. I don't need to tell you. It's fine. Because it ends up they don't understand anyway. So just feeling confident that you don't need to explain yourself to people when you need the time to work on your business, and being quite strict with that time and going, okay, between 9 and 3, I'm working. Anything that is, unless it's urgent, anything during that time is a no, because you're working. And it's amazing what it does for a woman when you give yourself those boundaries, because otherwise you start,
and you've got to be strict with yourself.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're working from home, because the dishes can drive you to distraction. You find that suddenly that couple of hours, instead of it, I did used to work from home, so
it's tricky.
The dishes and the washing and the mopping of the floor, it seems like it's incredibly important. The world will stop if you don't do it, but actually all it will stop is your business growing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's amazing though when you when you say to yourself, these are my hours, it automatically makes your business seem like it's important and it's a real business. I'm talking about the really early starters. Because if you were flying around and, because I hear this all the time, I don't have enough hours in the day. It was like, what are you doing? Have you allocated your work hours? You don't go to work and just go to the cafeteria all day. You've got set times you have to work and you have to be strict with that. But yeah, I think it's really important to tell friends, sorry, I can't do coffee. And if you're finding yourself with those distractions, I would question what you're trying to avoid doing.
Yes, there's something there.
Yeah.
I think having said that, though, sometimes you may need, if another business tip, sometimes you may actually need to not be where you are to get the answer you need. You might need to change venue, go to a local cafe, early in the morning, sit there, work from there for half a day or even an hour or two and see if a change of venue just changes things up for you. That can be really helpful. My other tip is your team. Like you just need a team around you that are brilliant, and it's something to work towards. You may not have a team yet, or you might have one person who comes in a little bit, or one VA you dedicate sending some stuff off to, or those people are going to become your team. So you really want to make sure you're attracting awesome team and you're serving them, because if you serve your team, they're going to serve your customers. So really looking at your team as family, that's the other thing. I absolutely adore my team and they are so great, and I just make sure that we have good fun times together whenever we get together. So your team as well is it's the utmost, and just getting that person in place who can work with you and guard your time with you, alongside of you, and really cement them as another part of the business.
Yeah, and that's a learning process as well, because not everyone's good at recruitment. Even people are good at recruitment. Some people have this idea that no one can do it as good as me. That's can be a little bit arrogant, but it doesn't mean they're a replica. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but it's true.
No,
but it's not finding a replica of you. It's finding people to support. It's not to support you, but support your customers.
They will be supporting you.
Yeah, they will be supporting you, but they've got a job.
You.
Exactly. So unless you're doing, of course, if you're doing phone calls, well, I'm sure there is someone out there who can probably even do a better job because that's what they do professionally. I'm sure someone can do your marketing.
Script and off they go.
Yeah.
And it can be genuine as well, and you get more au fait at these things, and it's something that training can be provided for, and you can devise some training for, very simple training, phone calls. But the person might not do it how you do it, like within the framework you've set. But it's like you said before, if it's working, as long as they're getting the result, and if it's not 100% the result, if it's 90 or 80% the result that you would get, that's still jolly good, and you're not doing it, so you're actually working at 180%.
Exactly. But to be honest, Ziggy, that always comes from a place of fear. It's not real, because often you can employ someone who does even better job because they're focused on one task. There's often a fear of no one can do as good as me, so I won't employ someone. And so that's a lot of the times that's where it comes from. But there are people out there, that's their job. Like your receptionist, that's what she does only. She's not doing dance class and this and running around and doing 50 other jobs. She's just concentrating and honing on her skills. So
that's it. And just loving us all from reception. God, she's just wonderful and hilarious and has a good giggle and knows everybody's name, and she's
that's
just
what you want.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Congratulations on making a good hire.
Yeah.
Good job. But you're a good leader as well, so that would make it easy to work for you. So that's good.
I think it either makes it easy or drives them all bonkers, or possibly both.
Both, yeah. All right. So now what are we up to? Number 3?
Oh God, really? Haven't we had a few more
4.
than that? Okay,
no, that was not. Okay, we're up to number 4.
Okay, we're up to number 4.
Yeah.
So that's our team. Team time. the other thing is to be really specific about what you want with your business. What do you want to do with it? Sometimes we're just in it and we're just kind of paddling in the business pond. Be really specific. What size? What do you want to do? How do you want to reach customers? Like, what is it you actually want as your end goal? What do you want to do? Be really specific, and it might take a while.
And realistic. Being realistic though with that goal, because you hear, I want to build $1 million business. That's not realistic.
Well, not to start with. You're going to need steps. I mean, it's realistic to have that goal, but you need to put the steps in. If you are driving towards that, and that's what's specific for you, but I don't feel like $1 million business isn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
What is it that you actually want to do with your product or your service, and who do you want it to reach?
Yeah.
If we can be really specific about that, there's no point in me running around chasing after students who's, they just want to have fun for 45 minutes a week, and parents really aren't all that interested in coming in to see them perform. That's really not what we do. So I can't be trying to do ads to reach those people. There's other schools out there who are going to love doing that, but so it's just about being specific about what you want, and what is it you exactly want to do, what would be the best thing to happen for you. And it might be quite a few years in the future, like you said, the $1 million business, it's a way off, but if you can think backwards from there, you'll have your steps, and then you need to break that down into steps and more steps. But I think I know that I fell into the trap of just sort of doing and thinking, oh, I'll get there. But I really had to get way more specific.
I'm hearing a topic for a WBS event, actually, Miss Ziggy, because I think, how do you find your goal? I know that sounds so simple, but people start a business and they start with their skills and experience, and that's it. And then the next phase, the learning phase, but where to next? Where are you going? And having that, actually knowing what that goal is, and people often do answer with a figure, like a number, and that for me screams, oh, you need some coaching, because that's not a goal. Go and get, go and do something else then, if it's just a number you're looking for, because you won't get it if you're just driven by money. You got to solve these problems.
Very few people actually are. Very few people are driven by money or can be incentivized with a financial reward. It's interesting, that whole psychology behind what motivates us and what doesn't, and it's so individual. It would be a great event for people to nut down and dive a bit deeper and really have a bit of a moment to have a think and get some clarity. That would be an awesome event.
Yeah, I think that you could walk away with a bit more clarity, which would help with all the other things, because, I mean, I know people that really do know where they want to be in 5 years' time, and they're working extremely hard. And they're the people that often people whinge about because they are just everywhere. I'm like, yeah, but they know what their goal is. That's why they get up in the morning with fire through their belly, because they know what they want. And when you know what that goal is, it's amazing how much energy you will have to make that goal come true. So really defining what that is, even if it's a number, like you're wanting 500 customers by 2000 and something, and then you got to step backwards. How am I going to achieve that goal? So maybe we just need a whole event on what the goal is, and then a piece of paper that will help you when you walk away define how you're going to get there.
Plan the steps.
Yeah, because that's really important. It's not sort of wandering around. Oh, do you know what? I actually really enjoyed this interview, because I feel like, because you're quite lovely and nice. I've lost my lovely and nice thing over the years. I feel like I used to be, I was a sort of person in business, was like, I love everybody, everyone's friends, we'll be family, oh, nice. And now I'm like, I can't lie to anybody. I can't lie to you about business. I need to tell you what, I need to call it out. I need to say the way it is, because I want women to move forward, not quicker, but just being equipped with the right information. Sometimes it's not very nice. Like you're going to have to work Saturdays and Sundays sometimes during period. Or maybe you choose to because you love what you do so much, like I do, and you have to pull yourself away. But it's building a business on the way you want to live your life as well. Like you're building a business on not just for everyone else, but the way you want your own life to look like in 5 years' time. We often forget it's about serving other people, but really we are setting up something that is going to leave a legacy, or for women, maybe some form of financial protection, which I definitely would always advocate for women to have that for themselves as mothers and as women.
Yes, that's a lesson you only learn the hard way, I think.
Yeah. It's true. Yep. And that's my motivation every day, because I think it's important for women to keep that confidence as we get older, to know that. And you learn that you've got only the person that's got your back is yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So building a business is part of becoming confident during, when you're running a business, you go through stages of your confidence is low, and then you look back and go, wow, I've just achieved all of this, with really supportive team or people around you, and never forget where you came from.
No, that's it. And sometimes we're just plowing through, job task after task, and you feel like you're getting nowhere. And you do have to take a moment to reflect and go, oh yeah, that's right. I did that and that and that. And that's when it's really good to be around a group like WBS, who can say, hey, by the way, that was really great. Or, pat yourself on the back, or just or make you accountable when you need it. It is important. So thanks for creating the group. I think it's and
thank you. Thank you for turning up. No, I'm not joking. Every event I feel the same way. I'm like, is anyone going to come? Is anyone going to come? and then I go to sleep, and I never actually sleep properly. Then I wake up and I don't want to turn my phone on, but then I want to turn my phone. I'm like, I just hope everyone turned up, and it was fantastic, because I never planned to do events 6 years ago. That wasn't my business plan. I didn't plan to move 6 times. In life you don't plan to do things, but it's amazing when you don't give up on the dream, but you be flexible with how you're going to get to that dream, but don't give up on the dream.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a beautiful, beautiful woman. I love you, Ziggy. Thank you.
Thanks, darling. All right.
I will chat to you soon. Enjoy your evening. I know it's late over there. What time is it?
Yeah, it's midnight
After
now.
midnight. So. Oh, I feel privileged to have spoken to you an hour. All right. Chat to you soon. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay, bye. So that's it for this episode of the WBS podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find all our episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or by searching for Women's Business Society on any podcast player. If you're a female entrepreneur, head on over to WBSociety.com to find out how you can become a member. Whilst you're there, check out the WBS magazine, which is full of tips to help grow your business. The Women's Business Society promotes, connects and motivates female entrepreneurs. We look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.